The ceremony brought together ODM and Kenya Kwanza leaders who did not hesitate to throw scathing attacks at Gachagua, with some choosing to remind him of the persecution he led against their party leader during the 2023 demos. They warned him that opposition is not easy, that he should be resilient.
Sasa we umeingia pale, ukifukuzwa kidogo na viti namna hii, unaanza kulia machozi, inajaza bakuli mzima. Wacha kulia wewe, ulisema wewe ni maumau. Wacha kulialia hapo town. Strengthen yourself, ujue ile mbio ndio imeanza.
Tunakushukuru kwa kushikilia rais. Saa zile alikuwa anasumbuliwa na kusabotajiwa na kiongozi ambaye anafaa kuwa anamsaidia.
Nataka kuambia baba, wewe usijali. Hata ukienda, sisi tukibaki hapa, sisi kama jeshi lako. Kuna German Shepherd, wengine wetu ni Chihuahua. Huyo Gachagua tutamrudisha kwa mtego, tusiage kama mincemeat.
Odinga was lauded for helping President Ruto stabilize his government and escape the chains of his former deputy.
Kwa sababu alikuja na kusaidia ndugu yangu President William Samoei Ruto kwa serikali, bila mnajua ile mteko ilikuwa imetekwa. Tunasema asante kwa kusaidia ndugu yetu William Ruto kwa broad-based government.
Ruto also received his fair share of attacks with warnings against undermining any of the leaders from the opposition that joined the government.
Na tunaambia president asante, lakini tutakuangaisha kama ODM, tutakupelekeza utatuheshimu na uheshimu baba.
Na unajua Raila anaanza kupiga firingi saa yote, akisema tutoke tutatoka.
The confusion on the future of the party and whether ODM will field a presidential candidate in 2027 was overwhelmingly canvassed.
Vile baba amesema 2027 sisi kama ODM lazima tutengeneze serikali. Kivyo vyote vile lazima. Kwa hivyo viongozi wetu kutoka Western, Nyanza, Kwanza lazima tushikane pamoja, tuhakikishe kwamba tumeenda mbele. Chama chetu cha ODM lazima iwe imara. Chama chetu haiwezi kumezwa hata kama ni kwa njia gani. 2027 lazima tuwe tayari.
Tutatembea pamoja mkoa huu kuunganisha watu wetu pamoja, na kwa chama tutatengeneza chama cha ODM kiwe na nguvu, tukishirikiana na viongozi mmeona hapa.
Lakini ya muhimu ni kwamba hao viongozi wanakushikilia chama wakati unaenda AU. Maana hii chama ni yako na hakuna mtu atachukua hii chama, tunakungoja ukishamaliza kazi yako ya AU unarudi kutuongoza.
The elusive Luhya unity was reiterated, with leaders claiming that the broad-based government brought them together, but in future they should all be under one banner of ODM.
Hii chama yetu ya ODM ndio imetufanya sisi tufike mahali tuko. Hii broad-based imeleta watu wa magharibi mwa Kenya pamoja.
Hili jimbo la Western wewe huwa unalicontrol 90%. Na mimi nataka kukuambia kwamba sisi zote kama jamii ya Mulembe tuko pamoja.
Local politics also featured, with Senator Otsotsi and Makadara Member of Parliament George Aladwa going head-to-head over the Vihiga gubernatorial race. Martin Opio, K24 TV.
President William Ruto has slammed a section of the political class over what he termed as politics of tribalism and exclusion. Speaking during a church service in Kimana, Kajiado County, President Ruto emphasized the need for politicians to preach peace while emphasizing the need for the church to work closely with the government. Ian Kitanyi with the details.
With the ever-rising political temperatures in the country, amid exchanges between the political class, President William Ruto, during a church service in Kimana, Kajiado County, cautioned leaders against politics of tribalism and hatred. His sentiments coming just days after his former deputy was attacked during a funeral in Limuru.
Politics of exclusion, the politics of tribalism, the politics that divides people, we get rid of it. in the Republic of Kenya. Nia yetu ni kuunganisha wananchi wote. We want to work together. Hakuna haja ya malumbano, hakuna haja ya mashindano ambayo yanagawanya wananchi. Tunataka tutembee pamoja.
Na msikubali kiongozi yeyote aje kuwaletea siasa za ukabila na migawanyiko hapa Kajiado. Munaona hata Kenya mzima tuliungana, wale wa siasa za ukabila na migawanyiko tumeweka kando ili tusonge sisi wote kama nchi moja.
Let us be allergic to all those who preach tribalism.
Amid fierce exchanges between the clergy and the government in recent weeks, President William Ruto emphasized the need for the church to work closely with the government.
There is no competition between the church and others, or between the state and the church. We are one partners, we are one country. Na wauliza ndugu wa Kenya, nchi hii haiwezi kufaulu kwa migawanyiko. Nchi hii haiwezi kufaulu kwa mashindano ya kugawanya watu. We have to be united. We have to work together. The church and the state must work together. Leaders from communities, all of them must work together.
Despite the clarion call by the president, his lieutenants, led by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, continued with their onslaught on the church, slamming the Catholic Church, claiming donations made by the president were yet to be returned despite being declined.
Pesa umesema ikirudishwa, ni kumaanisha hata wewe unajua haijarudishwa. Na ikirudishwa, niko na list mrefu. Kwa hivyo nitauliza rais, akipata ile anaambiwa atarudishiwa, anipe, nitawagawia nono kidogo sababu nimesikia umesoma Biblia vizuri. Halafu ingine kidogo tupeleke kwingine. Lakini nisisitize bado haijarudishwa. Unajua nilisikia juzi wengine wakisema imerudishwa mpaka yenye ilikuwa ni ahadi. Sababu rais alipeana kiasi na ingine akasema itakuja baadaye. Sasa hata ile ya kuja baadaye kuna wanasema imerudishwa na haijafika. Utarudishaje yenye haijafika?
It is during the service that the Social Health Authority, now dubbed Taifa Care, took center stage. Leaders present insisting that it is the only way to solve challenges in the health sector.
Sisi viongozi tunaweza kuwa na bima. Kwa nini mwananchi wa kawaida asiwe na bima? Ndio akasema kwamba yule ambaye anapokea mshahara atatozwa kodi, na lile kodi litatumika kumpatia bima yule ambaye hana mshahara.
In celebrating the World AIDS Day. Now, today's event was commemorated by marathon, with participants running half a marathon, 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers and 2 kilometers. Cabinet Secretary for Health Deborah Barasa, who led other dignitaries from the Ministry of Health, called on Kenyans to register for Social Health Insurance Fund, insisting that it will aid in promoting delivery of healthcare services in the country. Barasa also highlighted key strategies tailored to curb the spread of HIV in the country.
We've walked a journey, and in this journey, we can see how far we have come. We have had prevalence rates reducing from as high as 14 to today, when you're saying we have 3.3%. And new infections have reduced from about 100,001,448 in 2013 to 16,752.
Let us continue with the synergy within the ministry, the various sagas. You see SHA is now here, so it really calls for the ministry to work in collaboration and synergy. During his address to the nation last week, His Excellency President William Ruto reiterated his commitment to providing universal health coverage, that is under through the flagship health reform initiative, now known as the Taifa Care. And on this World AIDS Day, let us commit to being part of these reforms, learning and listening to one another as we make progress towards perfection. Together, we will break barriers to health and create an inclusive society in Kenya where everyone, regardless of their status, can access quality, preventive, promotive, and treatment services, especially the poor and vulnerable.
People living with disabilities have expressed concerns over neglect and societal misnorms in the fight against HIV and AIDS, while men now top the list of the most affected as the world marks World AIDS Day. Kisumu County is currently leading in new HIV infections, with men topping the list.
Meet Galins Eve Wahungu, a youth champion living positively with HIV and AIDS, interacting with her peers shortly before joining the celebration. She shares her journey and contribution in the fight against HIV and AIDS, expressing her concerns over what her personal experience has been.
At some point it becomes very difficult to access help and maybe to access medication, healthcare medication treatment, because of the stigma around, because people believe that if you are a person with disability, you cannot be HIV positive, which is very wrong. HIV is for everyone, it does not choose. In normal cases, PWDs don't go for HIV testing since they fear how the workers will look at them, the response they will get when they got there, because most of them are somehow not educated on how to handle and to serve a person with disability.
She breaks down emotionally when she vividly pictures the burden of HIV stigma among those living with disabilities as encountered at the health facilities and at community level. Her friend lends her a shoulder to lean on as they both cry together. Injectable long-acting antiretrovirals are a major advancement in HIV treatment. This bi-monthly injections offer an alternative to daily oral medications, improving adherence and addressing stigma associated with HIV treatment. However, in Kenya, access to these injectables remains limited due to high cost and logistical challenges, hindering their availability to men and other undeserved groups. Sylvester Agaya, a youth champion, shares his opinion on the same as he calls for the need to create more awareness on the new advancement in the fight against HIV and AIDS.
Right now there is a progress by the government acknowledging the self-injectables that we can use, also to promote privacy and confidentiality. But the issue is there's a lot of lack of access to information. Most community, men and women, do not know that self-injectables exist. They have also not sought some guidance so that they can know under what conditions they can use it and where to access it. So there has been a lot of accessibility issues. They are not easily accessible because, as far as I'm concerned, most public facilities right now, especially in the community level 4, level 3, they do not use it as per now.
According to Eric Okioma, the team leader at Nelson Mandela TB HIV Information CBO, who spoke to K24 TV on phone, addressing these barriers are essential, especially as men face unique challenges, including lower healthcare seeking behaviors and systemic gaps in HIV programs tailored to their needs. Additionally, the intersection of HIV and gender-based violence against men must be addressed, as men experience forms of gender-based violence, including emotional, physical, and economic abuse, often compounded by societal norms that discourage them from speaking out.
We've focused so much on the girl child, neglecting the boy child. The society has also orchestrated man to be man in the society, so that even when there is a challenge, a man is not able to share. They've not normalized these discussions around taking care of us as men.
We are also advocating for what we call positive masculinity. A lot of reports have come out in this nation where we have a lot of femicide, women being killed. Most of the killers of these women are men. And so we want to encourage men that it is time for us to dialogue. Violence does not pay. Violence is a crime.
As these concerns take a center stage as the world marks World HIV and AIDS Awareness Day, Kisumu County now leads in new infections, with both boys and men topping the list with over 50,000 cases.
Men in Kisumu County, they are leading in terms of HIV burden. It's over 50,000 men, and boys are living with HIV. And that's a challenge, Kisumu being number one. In the whole 47 counties of Kenya is a challenge because most men are actually breadwinners in their families. When a man is down with a sickness, it really has economic challenge within their household.
The fete was also marked in different parts of the country, with this year's theme being Ending HIV and AIDS by 2030, taking the opportunity to encourage mass testing for HIV among the youth and old. Mumbi Chege for K24.
Well, we'll take a break right here on the Sunday Review. We'll be back with more in a short while.
Let's get this party started! Hey kids, light up your festive season with StarTimes. Renew your subscription for 2 months and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 2 months to spend more time hanging out with all your favorite cartoon friends on our amazing kiddie channel.
Pretty incredible, right?
Enjoy more adventure, more action, and more fun on Baby TV, CBeebies, Jim Jam, ST Kids, ST Tunes, Toonami, Cartoon, and Boing. Renew your subscription today and get upgraded to Jingle with the Stars.
And I like it that way.
Download the StarTimes On app to enjoy all your favorite kids shows on the go. StarTimes, enjoy digital life.
Asante kwa kunipigia simu. Simu yako nitaipokea kwa muda usiokuwa mrefu. Je, unajua kuwa wimbo wa taifa wa Kenya ulitokana na wimbo wa Kipokomo, mojawapo ya kabila za pwani nchini Kenya? Wimbo rasmi ulitungwa na Thomas Johnson Kalume.
Ili kuset asante kwa kunipigia kama skiza tune yako, dial star 811 star 622 hash.
Mozart Casino Jackpot. Zungusha gurudumu la furaha. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet.
Baada ya kutumia damu ya Yesu na mwili wa Yesu Kristo, shine, 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 you shine and you shine, and just in the name of Jesus.
Welcome back. Let's move on. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested 2 top officials at the Liaison Group Insurance Brokers over alleged collusion with the Kenya Maritime Authority to fraudulently secure a 40.5 million medical insurance tender. Julius Kitheka, General Manager of Healthcare at Liaison Group, and Danson Kaba, the company's Mombasa branch manager, were arrested after the anti-graft agency conducted a search operation in the insurance brokers' offices in Nairobi and Mombasa. EACC said this is part of an ongoing probe into increasing cases of private insurance companies colluding with the government agencies to fraudulently secure tenders for staff medical insurance coverage at exorbitant costs. Elsewhere, Kabeme's TV and radio reporter Wanjeri Kariuki, who was shot thrice in Nakuru by the police on the 16th of July during the Gen Z demos, has won the Freedom Warrior Award during the 7th Kenya Editors Guild Convention. Wanjeri has been celebrated for her bravery and resilience. Mombi Wambugu tells her story.
Wanjeri Kariuki couldn't comprehend why she became a target of police brutality during the Gen Z protests. In a hospital bed, she said the shooting damaged her physically and mentally.
There were 3 police officers who were inside the vehicle. I don't remember well because it happened too fast. And then at one along Kenyatta Avenue, that's when I was shot. And I think because I was shot 4 times, the numbness, I didn't feel it immediately. So after some time, that's when I realized I've been shot and I fell down. And luckily, I was surrounded by my colleagues. There were no protesters who were near us. It was only me and my colleagues. And they helped me very quickly. They looked for a vehicle, for a boda, and they rushed me to one of the hospitals within the CBD.
During the 7th Annual Editors Guild Convention in Nakuru, Deputy President Githure Kindiki acknowledged the strained relationship between the government and the fourth estate. He committed to serve justice to Wanjeri and all the affected journalists.
Government has been accused of failing to protect media freedom and the personal safety of journalists. We must bridge this divide and build a working partnership grounded on accountability and responsibility.
Wanjeri expressed gratitude while receiving the award, saying resilience and journalism cannot be separated.
Today I'm delighted, I'm happy to be the 2024 winner of the Freedom Warrior Award 2024. I was awarded by the Kenya Editors Guild. I'm so happy. They say after the pain there is gain. This is part of it, of the gain. After undergoing the unfortunate incidents of being shot while in the line of duty in Nakuru City.
She further insisted that police officers who contributed to her shooting must be held accountable.
I'm so honored that the Deputy President will take up this case and say that they are going to help me get my justice. That is all I'm waiting for, and I hope it's just not words, but there will be action after this while.
Media stakeholders also celebrated Wanjeri's resilience, citing commitment to journalism.
Catherine looks so beautiful. She's an inspiration to many people. She's an inspiration to many young and upcoming journalists. And that's why we decided we have to give her her flowers when she's still alive.
Mombi Wambogo, K24 TV.
The government has maintained it will remain resolute in advancing good governance as both a constitutional and development imperative. Speaking during the Institute of Certified Secretaries' 13th Gala edition of the Champions of Governance Awards, Head of Public Service Felix Koskei, in a speech delivered by Eliud Owalo, said as a critical step, the government has already embedded observance of the principles of governance in its performance management frameworks, among them the performance contracting. On its part, ICS has requested support in enforcing the requirement of engaging certified secretaries as enshrined in Mwongozo and various governance codes.
Because it is what measures how an organization is performing in terms of its leadership practices and its governance structures.
As an institute, we want to confirm that we are in full support of the government on matters of digitization. Once you digitize services, you reduce the interaction between the people and the service providers, and that way you also reduce corruption.
Would you believe that before we embarked on the process of digitalization in government, we used to collect an average of 60 million shillings per day by way of revenue? Today, courtesy of digitalization, on a good day, we collect up to about 1 billion shillings on a given day. The sources of revenue remain the same. The sources of revenue remain largely the same. The people in government remain largely the same, but what we have done is to seal the revenue leakages. Yeah, the revenue leakages courtesy of digitalization. That is just one of the cases in point. Anything, good people, that we do as managers in organizations must be aligned to good governance practices, starting with strategic planning as the basis of everything that we do in organizations.
The government spent at least 6.9 billion shillings on cases related to teenage pregnancies and other forms of child abuse last year alone, with calls for collective efforts to combat gender-based violence. President William Ruto's advisor on women matters, Harriet Chigai, says teenage pregnancies and violation of children's rights has become rampant in the country. Chigai was speaking when she graced Tirop Angels fund run aimed at creating awareness among athletes in the North Rift region following a series of murder cases involving female athletes in the region.
If we talk about women economic empowerment and investment, we will not achieve much if we do not solve the societal problems that actually make our progress towards enhancing GDP go down. I can assure you, last year alone, in 2023, the government spent almost 6.9 billion on teenage pregnancies because the number of young girls getting pregnant is actually escalating. A majority of these cases are actually rape cases or defilement, where young girls are being defiled. You can imagine if the government is losing 6.9 billion shillings on teenage pregnancies, that money can actually be put in other government projects. 6.9 billion shillings is a lot of money. And that is why we are calling upon all Kenyans, the whole of society, the church, as we are aware. And today I'm very impressed because we have more men champions.
So we are here to say speak up, seek help, and gender-based should not help. It should not happen to anyone. And that men, let's love our women, and women, let's love our men. Let's treat each other with kindness. Gender-based violence should be something that should have ended with our grandparents.
The solution for all this is not killing. The solution is talking and agreeing, and also making sure that we are building our families.
Let men be part of the declaration, because with the men, when men decide this thing is going to end and they'll be on the side of ending it, I'm 100% sure we are going to win this.
Well, it's time for us to take another break right here on the Sunday Review. When we get back with tonight's discussion that is centered on the state of education with an education expert right here in our studios. Let's take that break. We'll be back with more in a short while.
Angukia welcome bonus only on Mozart. Karibishwa kama mgeni. Register now on mozartbet.co.ke to angukia free bets under free spins bonanza. Kuwa mshindi. Mozartbet.
Baada ya kutumia damu ya Yesu na mwili wa Yesu Kristo, shine, shine, shine. You shine and you shine, and just in the name of Jesus.
I will love you without condition.
Oh yeah, Nairobi, Kenya comes alive on the 7th of December 2024. At SK, the Dome Jamhuri Park Showground from 7 p.m. as the sensational Register Etana will be performing live at the Good Vibes Festival. Tickets are now available at ticketyetu.com. Advanced regular tickets are going for 2,000 and 2,500 shillings at the gate. Advanced VIP tickets are going for 4,000 shillings and 5,000 at the gate, while VVIP tickets are going for 6,000 and 8,000 Kenyan shillings at the gate. Ingia, ticket yetu na ushike tiko yako leo. Come and have some good vibes.
I'm not the sort of person who falls in and quickly out of love, but to you I give my affection right from the start.
Welcome back to the Sunday Review. Now we are just hours into the signing in of a return to work formula between the WASU and the Ministry of Education with regards to saying to wait that more university in particular and by extension the lecturers resume learning activities by Monday this coming week. It is on that premise that we'd want to talk about the state of education right here in Kenya. Is the return to work formula enough? We will be getting to another position in the coming days and ask ourselves, why are we in the same spot yet again? That's what we want to understand this evening. And joining me this evening is Omar Mohammed. I got that right. He's a tertiary education expert as well as the country manager for Educare International. Omar, thank you for joining us this evening. Now, our education sector has witnessed tremendous changes over the past few years. From us transitioning to CBC, we saw the JSS teachers being inculcated into the system, as well as what we're dealing with right now, which is the new funding model. When you're looking at what the government is trying to do with this new funding model, it says that we're trying to basically expand the pool so that we can see to it that those who do not have adequate access to education are provided for, and those who can necessarily pay from their own pockets get to do so. Do you think this is the right school of thought with regards to that?
Thank you so much, Alan. Nashukuru, and you've asked a very important question, and it's a question that we've been asking ourselves for many years, over and over and over again. And I believe for it to work, both parties have to be happy, and it's not about the teachers just going back to school and lecturers going back to school. At the end of the day, it's for them to go back like wholeheartedly, and be passionate at what they do, and so that they can be really, delivering to the learners, because hakuna haja ende kufanya shingo upande, umeelewa? So it's really important that the teachers are motivated enough to be able to teach the learners at a higher level, to be honest, in terms of quality of delivering. And these are the issues about the funding model. I've been, really trying to sensitize a lot about how, we can be able to overcome these issues. The money is required, yes. How are we going to do it? It's just a matter of trying to see how these institutions can break free from just government funding. To be honest, there's a lot of opportunities. Being in the international education, I've visited more than 100 universities across the globe. I've seen how universities and countries are making a lot of money from international education. We are in a place where our neighbors are all, struggling in education, and we have very good institutions, but we're not really trying to see how we can tap into getting students from all over East Africa to come into Kenya. It will really help us a lot in terms of adding more revenue into our schools. Economies of scale. I operate a college myself, and I know that having many students doesn't really increase the cost so much. It only makes things work better. So if you look at the UK, for example, home students pay so much cheaper compared to international students, because that's the same thing where if we attract international students to our country, we've solved the big puzzle. We'll have a big stream of income coming in. Trust me.
Well, I mean, about to actually land with at that level where we can attract students to come and study here and export those expertise?
To be honest, that's a very good question, and it's possible. I've seen many countries doing it. I've seen Malaysia doing it. I've seen Mauritius coming up very well, Dubai coming up very well. It's all upon proper planning, coming up with pilot projects, and seeing how the effect comes in before going all out guns blazing. This is the issue. I feel like radical changes are coming up. All of a sudden this is now from tomorrow, this is from next week. It's in education system, everything needs to be rolled out in a pilot product, in a pilot program where we're testing it out, and then you now fully roll out something to the public. So I believe it's possible. We have the institutions. We are a country that we have more than 40 KMTC in different counties. We are ready to do this. We have skilled people. We have amazing professors, lecturers, everything. The people are there. The institutions are there. It's all upon the management and seeing how we can position ourselves. Look at Dubai coming up as a next destination. We have UK universities going in, Australian, many different institutions. In Malaysia, there's so many universities from different parts of the world setting up campuses there. Heriotwood, Southampton, Swinburne, Curtin, Monash, big universities setting up campuses. And they're also looking at Kenya. Our policies sometimes, they don't work in our favor, to be honest. Our policies say a university needs 50 acres to set up a university. I mean, universities want to set up in Nairobi. Where will they get 50 acres to set up an institution? So just policies like this, for example, judging by developed square meters of the property, that makes more sense compared to, because somebody can have a quarter acre in Upper Hill and build a proper building. Or even partnerships between foreign institutions and our local institutions. This can really work well. I've seen it working in other countries where an institution comes in and partners with the local institution, brings the international standards to our institution. we have already properties, we have everything.
Well, you're an expert in this field, and you've gotten the opportunity to sit with different people who ply their trade within the education sector, and you say most of them, or most investors, even live alone within the education sector, say there's some sort of hindrance when you're trying to penetrate the market and basically set up shop right here in Kenya. What is that conversation when it comes to the education sector, now that you've given the example of a university that would want to set shop right in Nairobi in terms of the requirements needed for it?
I mean, the universities can definitely see the opportunity. They're looking at our numbers. We have an average age of 19, and this is not only for Kenya. We're looking at the whole of East Africa. Most of the students, I mean, most of the population is actually young people that need proper quality education. And these countries, most of our neighbors don't even have that quality education. So this, and when international universities look at Africa, the first place they find stable and a good place to do it is actually Kenya. And this will really, they're all looking at it actually, but you know, we have to have a bit more, you know, in fact, we need to have an institution that now focuses on marketing this to other countries. For example, in Malaysia, they have Education Malaysia Global Services, EMGS. Their job is just to get Malaysia as an international destination all over the world. They're doing exhibitions, they're proper marketing. You know, the difference between a tourist and a student is that a tourist comes for a few days. A student comes and spends 3-4 years and brings in good money to the economy.
All right, let's talk about funding of this education. In Kenya, for public institutions, we have HELB. This assists people who are not necessarily able to pay their fees from their own pockets. Looking at how other tertiary institutions in different jurisdictions that you've worked in, how different is it in terms of how HELB is handled? Because there seems to be a lot of issues affecting HELB, and this is something that has served Kenyans for the longest time ever. How is it handled differently in other jurisdictions?
To be honest, I've met several, you know, equivalents to HELB. For example, we even set up a meeting between the equivalent in Malaysia and also in Kenya. And of course, there are challenges in every country, especially when it comes to recovery, you know. Recovery is usually a big challenge, you know, and it's also really important to motivate those that have paid, I mean, those that have benefited to pay back so that they can also be able to help other people. So to be honest, there's an effort in terms of the government side, and also it comes a lot more effort from the people paying back, because you cannot just keep paying for people and they're not paying back. So I think having proper recovery measures is very important, but at the same time, it should not be a hindrance to education. You know, in the first place, I mean, where I come from, where I've been dealing with universities even in Europe, I feel like in the first place, even education is supposed to be like accessible to everyone. You know, it should not even be about the cost and everything. And it's possible. There are so many universities that are making much more through research. They're making much more, you know, there are many avenues for institutions to make their revenues, not just about depending for the government, you know. I mean, we have really great institutions, hundreds of acres within Nairobi, outside Nairobi. But when you look at it, like, there's not much being done there. Like, it just needs a bit of polishing, a bit of marketing. And I was really impressed, actually. I just came back from Meru. I had a very good session there at, with the students, with Murdoch University. And when we're coming back, and, you know, I got to see Chuka University, Embu University, I'm really seeing that these are actually universities that can really be, you know, getting out there. You know, I'm seeing that they're really deeply developed, and I feel like, you know, we're not so far. We just need to have proper systems for visas, come up with a swift, so that, you know, international students, all about the experience. If they come and they're happy, that's it. Like, more and more people will come. Their brothers, their sisters, their relatives.
All right. Well, maybe just to get your thoughts on an issue here, there's been this conversation around access to education, and you've mentioned it in one of your points, saying it should be a conversation of free access to education to everybody. That should be the conversation we are having. And one of the sort of arguments that has been posed is that, why don't we collapse all these education funds? Because when you walk around, you have the education fund by the legislators, they have CDF, you go to the governor's office, there's governor's scholarship, everything. There are too many education funds, like, basically scattered everywhere. And it has been, why don't you collapse all this into one fund so that you make education that free? Do you think this argument sort of holds water?
To be honest, I think that's a really good plan. I mean, it's a very good plan because, you know, that gives more control over the funds.
Yeah.
I mean, being in the industry, I have witnessed that sometimes, to be honest, these funds are not managed in the right way.
Yeah.
You know, this doesn't go to the right needy person. You know, I've seen it many times that, you know, it goes to the wrong person, somebody who is capable of paying, you know. So having a proper, you know, pocket that is properly, distributed to the right pockets which actually deserve it. It's very important because I'm not sure if you're aware that actually 8 out of 10 students are dropping out in Kenya. You know, even this whole delay and everything, more and more students decide, you know what, let me just go to the stage and start becoming, you know, doing a small job there, you know. So once they start earning money, it's difficult to now get them back to go and study again. So that's why in international systems, we're trying to make sure that as soon as you finish high school, you're straight into university. So the funds, it's possible, but you need to have proper, clear, transparent systems that need to make sure that, okay, this is a deserving student academically also, and is going for the right course. Like, to be honest, the funds sometimes are going to educate somebody for a course that is not even marketable. I mean, why are we misusing funds? You know what I mean? It has to be something, the fund has to be used for a career that will definitely succeed so that that person can definitely pay back. If you're setting him up for failure, how are you expecting this person to now come and repay this loan?
All right. We're looking at this issue on universities, and right now they've been bundled up in bands. I'm sure you're aware of this. Under this new funding model, we have 5 bands, and there's a 129-member committee that was set by the president to basically unlock this stalemate and see to it that we have a way forward on the same. And there seems to be 2 sides and 2 factions when it comes to this committee. One is saying reduce the bands from 5 to 3. And on the other side, university stakeholders are of the argument that the mean testing instrument should basically be revised and the variables increased so that we can see how we are increasing those bands from 5 to even another higher number, so that the literally the universities cannot be cash strapped. Which of the 2 are you leaning more towards?
Me, to be honest, if you ask me, it's nothing to do with bands and everything. It's proper identifying that this student really deserves it and this student doesn't deserve it.
How would you identify that as Omar? Let's say you're the CS for education.
I mean, it's simple, brother. I mean, even if I'm applying for a visa or you're applying for a loan, you have to show proof of financial, you know, need or financial, you know, a backup and everything. Or even you're applying for a visa, bank statement. So if anybody is applying for this, I should be able to demonstrate that this is happening. For instance, I'll give you a very good case. Look at M-Pesa Foundation Academy. I'm very impressed. They take 2 students from every county, 47 counties, and they go actually to even interview these students. And they make sure that these are really actually students who are of financial need, and they support these students. So if they're doing it and making sure that they're getting students the right way, it's possible to do it. I understand the numbers are big and all that, but I mean, even just coming up with short interviews, 3, 4, 5-minute videos of somebody showing where they're actually staying and what is happening, just to try and process the whole you know, queue. Short interviews and all that, just to show even recommendations from the people around to proper backup that this is somebody who really needs these funds. Because someone won't go all the way and do all that work if they don't really need the funds. If somebody really needs it, we'll go through the obstacles to get it done.
All right, finally, Omar, before I let you go, I mean, every other person, or most people, most young people would love an opportunity to go and study abroad, but just as what we're witnessing within the labor sector with government jobs, it's not as rosy as these institutions sell it to be. And you find that when somebody gets that opportunity to go and study abroad, it's something else, because it's just a whole different world. So what then is that thin line that people are walking in to discern whether or not to remain here locally and try and pursue your studies right here vis-a-vis going abroad in a new environment that you've probably been promised something that is non-existent?
Let me tell you, brother, the same way people came out from other counties to come to Nairobi for opportunities or to go to the cities for opportunities, now the world has become like sort of like one country. You know, the young people have realized, the people have realized that, okay, if I have a degree and I'm sticking around, there's no opportunity, why don't I go and do a 1-year master's abroad? And you know, I know it will cost a bit of money, yes, but after investing this, I'll get a good salary and a job, and you know, I'll be very happy after that. You know, so they get something called a post-study work visa. So many of the students actually are going majorly because of the post-study work and opportunities so that they can work. So it's no brainer, to be honest. It's not about even the qualifications, it's about getting the opportunities as well. So this is what people are targeting, and even people who are studying here, actually majority of them want to go, but the biggest obstacle is now usually the finances. And we work with the banks, and the banks are easily financing students. And that's why I also advise that if help can also work with the banks, because the banks are very good at recovering and making sure that the money is coming back. So if it's a difficult issue, why can't now the funds be given to banks to process, and maybe this could be so much easier, because recovery, you're sure that this person will pay back.
Alrighty. Well, Omar Mohammed, thank you very much for making time for the segment and sharing your insights on the same. He's the country manager for Educare International, as well as an international tertiary education expert, sharing his insights on the same. At this point, we'll take a short break. We'll get back with some sports news. Stick around for that.
People Daily, we believe small actions lead to monumental changes. As we commit to a greener future, embrace simple steps, reduce, reuse, and recycle. It's time to go green. Kua Green. Switch off unused lights, opt for reusables over disposables, and support eco-friendly products. A choice, no matter how small, makes a difference. Inspire others with your green journey, and together let's shape a more sustainable tomorrow. Kua Green is an initiative of the People Daily.
I will love you without condition.
Oh yeah, Nairobi, Kenya comes alive on the 7th of December 2024. At SK, the Dome Jamhuri Park Showground from 7 p.m. as the sensational Register Etana will be performing live at the Good Vibes Festival. Tickets are now available at ticketyetu.com. Advanced regular tickets are going for 2,000 and 2,500 shillings at the gate. Advanced VIP tickets are going for 4,000 shillings and 5,000 at the gate, while VVIP tickets are going for 6,000 and 8,000 Kenyan shillings at the gate. Ingia, ticket yetu na ushike tiko yako leo. Come and have some good vibes.
I'm not the sort of person who falls in and quickly out of love. But to you, I give my affection right from the start.
Mozart Casino Jackpot. Zungusha gurudumu la furaha. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet.
K24 Sports News, powered by Mozart Bet.
Angukia welcome bonus. Only on Mozart. Karibishwa kama mgeni. Register now on mozartbet.co.ke to angukia free bets under free spins bonanza. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet.
Welcome back. Let's now have a look at some sports news. World Half Marathon champion Sebastian Sawi cruised to victory in the 2024 Valencia Marathon, held on Sunday with a wide lead in Spain. Marking his marathon debut, the 28-year-old Kenyan looked comfortable over the distance, crossing the finishing in a blistering 2 hours, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. He finished 33 seconds ahead of the next best finisher, Dereza Geleta of Ethiopia, with compatriot Daniel Mateko rounding out the podium in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 24 seconds. In the women's race, Ethiopia's Megretu Alemu delivered a dominant performance to win in a time of 2 hours, 16 minutes and 49 seconds. The 27-year-old finished ahead of Uganda's Stella Chesang in second place and compatriot Tiruye Mesfin in third.
Race clock, he is closing. The speed that he's shown in the latter stages been so impressive. The crowd know it. I tell you what, this is going to be a time to throw down for the future. Keep an eye on the athlete on the screen. The future of marathon running is here. Another great Kenyan marathon runner to the fore. The race clock is going to be very close to that 2 hours and 2 minutes. Sebastian Sarway, the Valencia Marathon 2024.
The Kenya Sevens men's rugby team, Shujaa, finished in 10th position at the 2024 HSBC World Rugby Sevens Series Dubai Sevens leg after losing 15-7 against Uruguay at the Sevens Stadium in United Arab Emirates. Kenya defeated Ireland 21-7 in their first playoff match before losing against Uruguay in the 9th place playoff final. In group matches, Kenya lost against France 24-19 before defeating South Africa 22-17. Kenya was later eliminated from the main cup challenge after losing 31-14 against Australia. Shujaa now turned their attention to the Cape Town Sevens scheduled for next weekend at the Nelson Mandela Stadium in South Africa.
His account. Just a suffocating pace from France. They just kept it going. One of their Olympians taking it into contact, but they just can't beat these defenders, or can they? Getting on the outside of Pasquet, and now there's a little bit of something to work with, but look at the energy of the teenager. Arfoy chasing him down, but it's not enough in the end. George Uro in for the try. What a turnaround of events at the end of the first half. Kenya, they're back in the game.
So we have half time now. Yeah. The way.
That's a great effort. The tireless Liam Delamer. He looks like he's a gem for this French side. Another question asked and answered. Patrick Odongo's bust the line wide open, and he's bust the game wide open.
Now to some local soccer action. Kakamega Homeboys defeated Shabana FC 2-0 in the Football Kenya Federation Premier League fixture played on Sunday at the Mumias Complex in Bungoma County. Moses Shuma scored the first goal for Abana Abengo before Glenn Otunga scored the second goal as they bagged all 3 points. Elsewhere, Sofapaka FC defeated Kariobangi Sharks 2-1, while FC Leopards defeated Kenya Police FC 1-0. Tusker FC defeated Murang'a Seal 3-1, while Ulinzi Stars drew 0-0 against Mathare United. From the results, KCB top FKFPL with 22 points, Bandari FC second, with Tusker coming in at the 3rd position.
Kakamega Homeboys wanaweka chuma cha pili. Analeta kona tena huku ndani, huku ametoka langoni na upangua baada ya kule. Wow! Victor Kelo Diambo. Kona yake Baron Ochieng. Alipangua tena, wamepokwa mali. Benjamin Murimi Mosha na kataa. Guy Panchol, Joseph Kuloba. Kuloba! Kula chuma hicho. Shuti la maangamizi. Analeta ndani Bwire. Imekula nguvu. Bado. Cheza kule Freddy Kalushula. Wanarudi. Freddy Kalushula akifunga goli lake la pili la msimu. Ilipigwa ikala nguzo, ikarejea lakini akacheza kwa kichwa tu. Fanya placing to
Caroline Muguku emerged as the overall winner at this year's Parklands Sports Club annual charity golf tournament held over the weekend, scoring an impressive 43 points in a highly competitive field. In other results, Joe Kisolo, playing off handicap 10, claimed the gross winner title with a score of 77 gross. Men Division A saw Eugene Ngigi take the top spot with 38 points, followed by Kefa Busiri